All right. Well, that's our ratings. Let's start this week off.
1828, Michio Kaku.
I don't even know how to say his name. I just know that's not right.
Fairly certain it's not right yet.
No, I know what it is. Mashido Kaku.
I don't think the
There's no
last name
T.
is right. I don't think it's Kaku.
Mashido Kaku.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, I have
Cacao.
no idea. Cacao. Let's go cacao.
I think Kaku's right. Anyway, Simon, this seemed like it was for you. You've been wanting. First of all, you've been saying Joe hasn't had any alien people on, and then he has one. This guy is clearly, well, but they spoke about aliens a lot.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
It seems like Joe has renewed his, I don't know. No?
I'm hoping that he's at least like, this is a great guest. You don't want to go full alien. This is a perfect, you know what I mean? A nice kind of 3/4 of the way there. And then the next guy, like, good. I hope this is our trajectory. But then he fucking throws in Megan, whatever her fucking name is.
You're not going to get just 7 fucking alien people in a row.
I know, but just where that episode went was like we were taking 2 steps back.
Was it better if it's in between or first and then the 2? Would that make a difference?
I mean, yeah, maybe it would have left a better taste in my mouth for the week. I don't know, Matt. I don't know.
How about this, though? It feels like Fravor and the Tic Tac have gotten more play in the last 3 weeks than maybe ever before.
I hate hearing Fravor's name.
Yeah, and I don't think Joe believes the Fravor anymore in all fairness.
You think that Joe now is convinced that it's some sort of military
our own tech. And listen, that's not to say Fravor's lying. That's to say that like I think you said at one point, if you're trying to test your shit, you're going to do it on your own people, right? Like, you're not going to tell them they're having to test it because then you're never going to get an honest response. But if that guy says, holy shit, that went from the ocean to the air like that, and it did a maneuver that I didn't think was possible, well, great, your shit works, And if he says no, that looks like a Russian thing, you're like, okay, well, this isn't good enough. I don't know, depending on what like, if you're trying to build something to fool everybody.
It feels like, to me, it just dawned on me, too, the fact that we leave that goddamn mic alone. It feels like the fact that they tracked it is a big red flag for me.
Why?
Because some stuff was jammed?
It just feels like, I don't know. It feels like we could track things we made, but I don't know.
I don't think it's us. Like, I disagree. I think that was something that was not ours or Russians or Chinese. I don't know if it came from outer space or not, or whether it came from the ocean and it lives somewhere like Kamar thinks in the middle of the earth or a different dimension, or I don't fucking know. I don't think that was, and the fact that they have it on so many sensors, like, that's way better than them having it on one sensor. You'd believe that way less, you know what I mean? At least there's some proof. And they were seeing lots of these things. Like, anyway, who fucking knows?
Isn't the most glaring thing, though, that it goes in the water?
That's amazing.
You come from 70,000 years away. That's the closest you could be.
Mm-hmm.
And to go in the water, like, and not go in the middle of it. Like, where are you going? Are you just... There has to be something important. If they go in water, they're not just going to the water. They're going to the center of Earth or whatever there is down there. Correct?
I have no idea. Or their base, or
who
knows?
Come
Dude,
all
there's
the
a
way
million
here.
things. Water could be the gas they use to power their ship.
Huge.
Maybe they're like an ostrich and they think they're hiding down there.
I think what I'm saying is the water is the most overlooked thing.
Well, kind of purposely overlooked, and then that's where they come from. Like, it just seems all too convenient at this point.
Hold on, it doesn't have to be convenient.
It's like a hangar for fucking what?
I'm just saying it could easily be like, if you're an alien life force, you can come down and say these living beings can't get down there. Like, physically, it's impossible for them at where they're at to get down there right now. So it's the best place for us to hide.
We can get to space, but we can't get to the bottom. Like, we just haven't bothered. That's the convenience.
But the weird thing to say we can get to space is like,
it's true.
You act as though, no, okay, but fine. Let's say we have. You act as though we've traveled a great deal of space. We haven't. Assuming we've been to the moon.
Well, we've gone farther than the bottom of the ocean. That's for sure, man.
Allegedly.
Well, if we've gone to the moon, that's like 200 million miles away or something.
It's 200,000.
Oh no, we'll double check that. but
250,000
anyways.
kilometers.
No, the moon
Yeah.
is. Anyways, I'm gonna look in a second here, but
250,000 kilometers is a fucking long distance.
sure,
You're
I
aware
think
of that,
it's
right?
even more than that.
And it's
But
not
anyways,
that far to the alleged middle of the planet.
the bottom of the ocean is much closer than that, Matt.
Allegedly.
Yeah, I realize that.
Oh.
Space though is a giant vacuum, whereas the deadest like bottom point of the ocean has the pressure of all the ocean on you.
You have to get through the Van Allen belt. Like I would
Hold on.
imagine
we
there's
keep
more
doing this.
pressure in
We
that
keep doing
than
this.
going to the
We keep
bottom
doing
of
this
the ocean.
Van Allen belt thing. Like any one of us is a fucking scientist, physicist, knows anything about this fucking thing. You listen to Sam Tripoli say that the Van Allen belt will most definitely fry everyone that goes through it. Right? Is that what we're going off
No.
of here? Jimmy Dore said it.
Listen, that's the problem. That's that's been their problem the whole time, was getting through that. That's the hardest part of the trip.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. And they can get through that. I think they can handle the pressure at the bottom of the fucking ocean.
But see, look what you're doing. With no scientific basis, you're like, this one thing is definitely, in my mind, definitively harder than another thing, for sure. And
I think where I want to agree with Simon is that the whole
This is gonna be
ocean,
yeah.
getting to the bottom, knowing it should have been exhausted before we even looked to space.
Yeah, Matt, 384,000 kilometers.
Well, even further.
Okay, but close.
Well, not my 300 million.
Yeah, he was- yeah.
It's
I was-
substantially close.
Yes. Thank you, Simon.
It's about as close as I was to guessing Matt's birthday.
There you go. Yeah.
And to think, you know how much gas to get there and back?
That's not
just
how
nowhere-
that works.
Rocket fuel, you
However it
mean?
works. To feel confident, yeah, we can do this.
No, but you're in a vacuum, so once you leave the
It's true.
atmosphere,
They have
there
to
is
do
no
it,
more
and then
gas.
you like hook gravity going around a planet, and it sends you this way. The whole thing seems really convenient. All I was saying, Matt, and I don't want to get bogged down with whether we went to space or not,
Sure.
but everything about where we are,
Yeah.
and everything about everything.
Yeah. Did you just say physics is very convenient, by the way?
Well, this is what I'm getting at.
Okay.
It all just seems very convenient. And that may be because we are a super rare, like, finished product, you know? Or everything is just really fucking convenient. The same way it would be convenient if you lived on, like, the Truman Show.
But again, everything is really convenient because one small, like, if you go back 100,000 years, one small change in whether it's the temperature or whatever, and we could have tusks, we could have tails, we could not be talking to each other. This could not be, you know what I mean? There's no fucking.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying. At every turn, you just note another thing where you're like, oh, that just worked out exactly perfectly, and that just worked out exactly, or it didn't, and we're a terrible byproduct, and maybe we would be way better with tails and tusks. I don't.
Sounds like you believe in the simulation. That's what it sounds like.
I don't know what the fuck I believe anymore, but it doesn't matter because I have to live with whatever
But wouldn't the
I'm in
simulation?
anyways.
Wouldn't the simulation explain for what you're saying? Like, there's just so many coincidences that.
Or we are like maybe we're not the only living things in the galaxy, but they obviously, like, just from our own little piece of the galaxy, we can see that it doesn't happen very often. So it is that rare, you know, like it's one in a, like, think about how big the fucking universe is. You can't, but just, have you seen that thing on YouTube or on Instagram or whatever, where it like starts on Earth?
Yeah, and
And
then
then
zooms the
zooms
fuck out. Yeah.
until you get to infinity. But like it shows you our galaxy, which was so many times zoomed out, and then it's just a whole screen full of galaxies.
Of course, yes. You're like, to get to the farthest planet in our solar system would take a human being an amount of time that we don't have.
Oh no, that's not. Yes, I mean maybe, unless you knew how.
Yes, unless
to,
you can bend time and space. Yes.
Unless you're a master of time and space, exactly. No, what I was saying is we were so special here for this to happen, even in our galaxy, that even if it happened in every galaxy, it's still not that many kind of perfect scenarios. There are a lot more terrible scenarios where life never grows, I guess is my point. We're still one in a million.
Is that terrible?
even-
Because we're just killing this planet, so we're not very good.
Well,
for
then we are fucking terrible. If we're that rare and we can't even like...
that's too convenient. The one source of life in the universe is just fucking yourself over. Or is that? It's just so sad.
Yeah, well, it means
If that's the case.
we're never gonna get to like go travel other places, I guess.
Well,
'Cause
we
we'll blow ourselves up. First.
hypersonic drones. That blows my mind. He's saying that hypersonic means 7 times the speed of sound,
5.
or 5 times the speed of sound. But also, I guess,
Sorry.
like when they attack, there's a sonic boom or something, and you think it's the bomb, but it's just this thing dropped.
It's
Well, you've
fucking
been to an air show.
horrible,
You've been to
man.
an air show, right?
Not recently.
Okay, but you remember that like when something breaks the sound barrier, like that jet flies over you.
Yeah, but
and then like
How big are these drones? Like,
And how many jets are you watching break the sound barrier?
oh yeah, you'll see a jet break the sound.
Really?
barrier, of
at an
course.
air show for
I
sure.
thought that was like a super rare thing.
It happened on
no.
Monday, actually.
Here?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
two F-18s did a fly over Parliament.
Okay.
And
It's a weird. It's super weird to see in person.
because there's a flash or something.
Are you going to a lot of air shows?
I
that
did
we
as a
don't
kid.
know
I went to a
about?
bunch of air shows, but
The sonic boom is the sonic boom. It's never changed in our lifetime.
it's just crazy, Simon. Because again, you're seeing a jet fly over you in dead fucking silence. Mm-hmm. And you're like, well, not dead, but you're like, this doesn't make a lot of. And then,
Oh, I can imagine how loud it is because when I was at my old house there, a jet flew over. I don't remember what it was for, but the fucking echo of its sound was so goddamn loud, you know?
And that's just like one.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. What was your point?
Well, these objects or whatever are not making these sounds.
Here's a better question though. I want to go back because sorry, you jumped forward to drones and supersonic. My whole thing with anyone traveling outside of their own galaxy or solar system is that it's just what you said. Like, what are the odds that? So not just so you're in a perfect Goldilocks zone in the perfect whatever solar system galaxy to create life, which we already know is very rare. Then
We
that
think.
well, okay, we
No,
think
no matter what, it's very rare.
yes. Anyway, the point is, you then like that civilization, that those beings, whatever, that life form, they have to live long enough and advance. Like again, how long have we been here?
Not very long.
200,000 years.
Yeah, but 200,000 years. Like, sure, even if you gave us another 200,000, my point is this: if you gave us another 200,000, I just don't think we make it.
No,
Whether it's war, disease,
He
an
says-
asteroid.
if we make another 100,000, we'll be gods. We won't be anything like human.
Yeah, but that's
at
what
all.
he. But again,
if we
there's
make
also
another 100, we get to control all the shit on the planet.
that's what-
Like,
that's
maybe at that point,
that's all
war
hypothesis.
becomes totally
That's-
obsolete.
that's all
you know?
hypothesis.
This guy's one of the
too.
smartest people on the planet, and
get
who's
it.
proving stuff, and it's very scientific. I believe him. In 100 years, climate change, all that shit will be. They'll laugh that they made such a big deal about trying to save the planet, if they even care. But then he said 1,000 years from there, we will
That's
be
if
able.
we make it to there.
That's the number 2.
If we make it 100 years, we're gonna make it, because I mean, there's so much bleed over from the other guy.
Yeah, I know, but hold on. You didn't. My finished statement was like, again, there could be an asteroid.
It won't matter in 100
in
years.
100,
Well, no, he said in 1,000 years we'll be able to
No,
control space. And stuff.
100 years, asteroids won't matter, super volcanoes won't matter.
I think it was 100 years. He said.
I thought he said but asteroid.
100 years
okay.
control the planet, 1,000 years control the star, 100,000 years control the universe.
Bend time and space.
That was his.
Yeah, that's a
these were predictions.
hypothesis.
Or we could all blow up in a week
Yeah,
of nukes.
everything is pretty much a hypothesis.
Well, of course, when you're dealing with guessing the
It's
future.
our best guess at just about everything. It's just trying to explain us, which
Yeah.
is totally unexplainable.
We-
And this is our best approximation most
get
of
it.
the time. And those are the things we all believe. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's just the best guess that the smart people could come up
But
with.
I get it, I'm just
he
saying-
also based it on, it was steam,
Yeah,
then electricity,
I understand.
then computers,
Yeah.
and now we're entering AI and nanotechnology. So the advances are going to get bigger faster, as well as the next level of whatever AI and nanotechnology means. He was talking about I didn't even know how they chopped up a fruit fly's brain and mapped out 100,000
Neurons.
neurons.
In a fruit fly's brain. Holy shit.
because there's only 100,000 there, but in a human's brain, there's 100 billion.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, you start small.
but it'll be with the help of technology, not means we have right now to count all that out and then map out the brain. And, I mean, this guy sounds like he's planning on downloading.
You think, eh?
But I mean, I think Joe's pushback was like, even if you download that, are you still who you think you are?
I don't know, man. I don't know what the right answer is, because
It doesn't make a difference.
maybe when you're supposed to end and you're not letting yourself end.
But when you hear this, you want to see the world in 100 years.
oh, I would
Just
love
to see how off or right this guy was, right?
I want to see when we can control fucking tidal waves and shit.
You know what I think the problem is, though, is when you say you want to see it, you want to be a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
You don't want to be alive. And I say that. Yeah, but Simon, think about it.
No, that's a totally, if they can just reconvert you into your best self.
Yeah, but you're missing my point is like, even being 40 right now, like when I talk to a 20-year-old, I'm like, this is tough. So imagine, like, I can't imagine being 80 and talking to a 20-year-old. Imagine being,
that
hold
not
on.
being though.
Imagine being 200 and talking to a 20-year-old. Like,
The best parts of life
yeah.
aren't talking to 20-year-olds.
No, but I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying you have to interact every day. Like, if you want to live a life, you have to go around.
Oh, you'd be like, it'd be alien to you.
Yeah, I'm saying like I'm not
Unless
saying you can't
unless
adapt to
evolved all
technology
that
and
way.
stuff.
Like, I hate cap and no cap.
I do
now,
too.
It's really a thorn in my side.
Cap and no cap?
Yes, the kids now say cap instead of lying. So this guy's capping, he's lying, which is weird because you're
Or if I'm
replacing.
not lying,
Capping
no cap.
is killing someone.
No,
Zombie,
you're old
you
as
fucking
fuck, dude. What are you?
caveman.
Yeah, 65.
But I see what you mean. If you just boom, there's probably a universal language at that point, which isn't English, which isn't Chinese.
Oh, it's 100% emojis.
I was just gonna say, Joe acted like he's never heard of emojis when he was like, "Be weird if there was some way to like, almost like hieroglyphics, like express what
I
you're
am a
saying."
grown man, a grown-ass man
Yeah.
who doesn't like any of this shit. Emojis make my life so much easier. I can tell a story and never have to write a word, or only have to write one word.
Simon gives so many thumbs up.
That's how
One.
you know it's a good idea. One thumbs up, I'm in.
He says we are at 0.7 right now.
Yes, on the scale of 1 to 3.
And
Yeah.
in 100 years, we will be a 1.
100 years will be one. Gotcha. That's the first stage.
Because I'm sure when this podcast started, the Joe Rogan Experience was around the early mark of talking about Ray Kurzweil, who always the singularity, which is weirdly faded.
2040 or something.
Say it was 10 years ago, 50 years from then, so it'd be 40 years from now.
But there, if you believe him, we can't go past what you're saying.
Or
Or that's when we join and
it just
go
goes
faster.
crazy boom boom. Because he also says we'll have to merge with machines.
Like, that'll be sad. That's sad if the X factor that we always talk about is the merging with machine. I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, but you sound like my mom sat at me when she looks at me looking at my phone.
I am sad at you.
And someone even older being like, and so that's just how it works.
You know
Well, here's
what,
a fun-
though?
hold on.
But just
We're merging with
I know,
machines.
but again, I'll say it. Just because that's the fork we took, it doesn't mean it's necessarily the right fork. It may be the one that gets us somewhere.
So that comes up in the next guy as well.
But here's an interesting thought process. So, okay, let's say we all decide we have to go into some sort of matrix. How do we create life after that?
Create life.
So there is no more organic human beings. We are now living inorganically.
How do we make more humans?
Yes. Or do we just go on saying the 8 billion? Because here's the problem. If we just say, okay, the 8 billion people that are alive now just live infinite lives, we get to a problem where, like, you know, some people are going to be 600 years old and incredible at everything, and other people are just
Well,
gonna...
that's the download thing.
Well, no, and that's when you come back. And you know, some people are just naturally better at basketball or naturally better at business. That's because they've already been living, like you said, Matt, 200 years. You just don't know about it because you've only been here for I don't know how many, you know what I mean? Like, I'm an okay tennis player. Okay. So I've probably maybe had a little while to get, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but we know that...
You could have memories that you're a good tennis player. I mean, he was talking about they could print out your dream.
But I'll go back to the simulation. How do we don't know that we're not already living in exactly what we're talking about.
100%. And that just means we are not in base reality.
Yes.
Whatever base reality is. But there's definitely, for sure, a billion realities. That's it.
I don't know what to do with that. You know what I mean?
Because the guy explains in the next one.
Well, he tries.
He tries, but he doesn't really touch it. But he thinks if you can download your digital self, you can then put yourself in a laser and
Shoot yourself to Mars.
travel these things. I imagine the receptor or whatever has to be there.
Well, I mean, that's like the really rudimentary version of beam me up, Scotty, right? Like, because there you're going.
But it's not like a physical form into something. It's the form to.
Kamar's saying there would be
What are you in?
We would just create human bodies, like blank canvas bodies.
An avatar.
Yeah, and you could just you shoot yourself to Mars, they download you into this body, and then you can walk around Mars.
Well, I mean, it would make a
two.
lot more sense if they were shooting you to Mars that they would shoot you into a body that made sense for Mars.
Well, no, because
right?
the body
That too.
would age or something. I guess it's going faster. But what about this?
Like they could put you into a panther if you were on Panther Land, you know, or whatever.
So they go to Mars. Say they go to Mars in 10 years or whatever. It's got to be all hands on deck, right?
What do you mean? 8 billion of us have to go?
No, whoever goes there.
Yeah.
Say there's 100 people.
Okay.
Every person there has a specific function.
Yeah, no one's going to just chill.
Yeah, they ain't sending up no dummies.
At what point do people start chilling?
At no point.
No,
Well-
there is a 50 years. There's
No.
going to be a point there'll be homeless
Oh
people.
no, for sure. Because if it's up to Elon and them, they're gonna have rich people going up right away. Those people aren't working. They're gonna be chilling from the start.
Oh no, but I mean people just
I don't think
checking
that's
out.
going to be happening right away.
Not right away. 50 years. Is that right away?
The commerce part of it,
Yeah.
I think that's going to be quicker than you think because these are private guys who are doing it. If it was the government, I would agree. But this
Okay,
is
say it
like,
takes-
for every government ship that goes up, a rich person goes up with it. You know,
Say it takes 50 years from landing on Mars to get something there that people go to.
a hotel.
Everyone will just be working. There'll be no one just bumming around trying to find themselves.
I think half the people that'll go up will lose their mind.
Will lose their mind just
Yeah.
because when we were talking earlier about trying to think about how many universes there are, if you could think how far the sun is, I think it would take your whole lifetime. If you could map that on your head how far that is, it would take that long.
I think it's longer than that.
And so to even grasp the idea of the universe, and I'll say this again in the next one, but the thought of nothing is the most crazy thing of them all, right?
That's why would you ever want to do the other DMT?
to see nothing.
To just like the goal is to see nothing? No, thanks, man.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Like,
No, but
we're,
Kamar,
we're all gonna get there eventually. But
So the laser beam traveling, the thing, and wormholes it's all theoretically possible. So think about the laser this way, but a laser through a wormhole is even going further.
well, if you can go through a wormhole, why do you have to go into the laser?
Because the biggest thing here is human form.
That's
the
slowdown.
can't really be part of the evolution. The human body, the way it ages, going distances, pressure on it, like it is an impediment to
Right. Oh, I see. Right. No matter what, in order
sadly, inevitably.
Well, I mean, but it hasn't this far. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we've had to get from somewhere to today. They've done that in human bodies. Why can't it be the same? You just want to live forever.
I do.
No, at some point, these people are going to want to live forever. But if everybody's okay with this natural idea that you die, but progress still moves forward, it's just the next generation that inherits.
Well, think about this. If you go to heaven, and in heaven you can't die, right?
I don't know.
Like, do you go to heaven in the form you are when you die?
No, but maybe
You
they
just go to heaven in your best self.
if heaven really is like you say, they're taking your whatever out of your body, maybe they can still destroy your uncorporeal form. Is that what it's called? Like a
This is just theories. If you go to heaven, say you go your best self,
yeah.
and you just get to hang out with your family for the rest of eternity, that doesn't sound like heaven at all, does it?
Well, it's heaven could be whatever you want to do for
but-
the rest of eternity.
Exactly. So you wouldn't be yourself, because here you enjoy your family and friends and cherish them because you have a limited time in this moment.
Yeah, Simon's point is
life.
that you don't feel time in heaven, so it's not. You're thinking about it in the wrong.
And I just like, is your version of heaven with your family? Like, I don't
No,
think
everyone
that's...
says, I can't wait to get to heaven. I'll see you again.
His version of heaven, he's just butt fucking everyone through life.
Mine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and with consensually.
Well, of course, it's heaven.
'Cause
Everyone's
it's-
consenting.
Heaven is the most ridiculous of all these suggestions.
I'm sure even in the version of heaven that like the religious people have, I don't think you can just go to heaven and be an asshole. I think they'll just kick you down to hell. Like if you go and do too much sodomy in heaven,
No.
you're gone, you know?
No.
I don't know. I don't think it's just a free
There's
for all.
rules.
If sodomy's a rule up there, Kamar's not getting in the first place.
If there's any
Well, he's not. That's the
if there's
point.
any
You don't
power,
get into
if there's
hell
any
if you've done
power
the
in heaven,
sodomy.
there'll be corruption in heaven, and it'll be hell. Like it's the least feasible idea of all these suggestions and stuff we're talking about.
No, I think you're probably more likely right that it's like heaven is just a name that was given to the place where they store
An idea.
all the downloads or whatever the fuck you want to call them.
I think that's the hardest thing to grasp is like this idea that there's, if we're all running on programs, there's still some physical steel structure that is vulnerable. And that even though we're all running around in electronic form, we could be turned off or something. But what if it turns out that the ocean is the able to be the supercomputer? All the water, like vibrations, connects everything like the cloud.
Like fungus.
Like fungus, sure. I mean, what this guy talks about is everything is scale. Like, we're only here at implanting memories in a mouse, but that means in 100 years we'll be able to implant memories in anyone.
Well, and that's Elon's whole point, right? Is that if we all agree that at some day there will be a simulation, then we have to be right in the not necessarily in the middle of it, but in it.
But think about when
Because if it's going to happen, then we would have already have done it.
I mean, it's a weird paradox, obviously.
It's interesting.
But we could implant memories that this is how it's always been.
Well, and isn't that how you would do it if you wanted to keep your test subjects running normally? You wouldn't give them memories about how it used to be. You would keep them dumb.
This was, I was thinking, just for a thought experiment. If someone got molested or whatever, you could make them not forget that trauma, maybe heal people that way.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be wrong?
Well, I think that's kind of the idea with like the psilocybin, is it like allows you to like take that wire that was going into a bad place. I'm just using a bad analogy here, and take it and plug it into a good place, you know?
If someone committed a crime, you then find out it's some sort of trauma. You know what I mean? It's for someone to do a bad thing. It's someone did a bad thing for them. Great or decent people don't just fuck around. You could get rid of those memories and immediately rehabilitate them. And the way he was talking about the black market for genes, that was just out of that
Yeah, but
download thing. You could just get like
changing
better eyes.
changing somebody, like, it doesn't sound like a good idea. Like,
Again, it goes into the thing. We do stuff that's inevitable, but that doesn't mean we're supposed to do it.
are we supposed to be perfect, you know?
Well, life is not supposed to be perfect.
Well,
That's for sure.
Who knows? Yeah,
We know. We
well,
do
we
know that.
we know that, but
Life finds a way, like some sort of thing Jeff Goldblum says, but it's not supposed to be perfect.
but it is pretty perfect. Look at us. Not you in particular or me in particular, but human beings. Like right now, we are the fucking pinnacle of millions of years of evolution. Like the fact
But
that,
hold on. You yourself almost disagree with that.
what do you mean? If we are influenced by aliens, you mean?
Oh, well, that's okay. There's that too, but there's also like if you think that there have been like, I'll just throw out a number, 5 civilizations that have thrived before us, then you don't know that we're the pinnacle.
Okay, so
Like, and then I'm just talking about Earth, right? Like, if you go outside of the galaxy, there could be, a real pinnacle of evolution.
sure, we could be the pinnacle for Earth, and
Yeah.
Earth's pinnacle is nothing in the scale of another planet. I have no fucking
Or
idea.
Simon here again, like
Or we could be the absolute tits.
yeah. Or like I'll go back to it. It could be, maybe 1,000,000 years ago, man evolved for 1,000,000 years, and these fucking Tic Tacs that we're seeing are someone that traveled like way the fuck out to the edges of the galaxy, came back.
Is in the past and is like,
Well,
what
no, is
the
way
fuck?
in the future now. You
It
can't
will
go
be in the future.
Yeah.
Is
Wow.
this beam thing we're imagining zipping around, being wherever?
Simon, they could also how do you like this? They could be going into the water because it's the coordinates to where their city used to be.
1,000,000 years ago.
Yes, but everything's shifted. All the plates have shifted. All the continents have shifted.
So interesting, and that would account for Antarctica as well, because it wasn't ice; it was land.
Sure.
That's why they're going there. Anyways,
Sure.
Either way,
You said one of the things for these things to happen is a universal language.
emojis.
Sure.
That's an example. Because a society only needs a few hundred words to function. Think about how many words we have.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, and I couldn't. It set me off when you said perfect. What is perfect? Perfect is a word we made to describe like the best thing whoever made it felt.
Think about emojis for a second, though. Just think about this, okay? We all use emojis in America, in Canada, in English-speaking country. In every country
Yeah.
that has phones,
They have the
they
thumbs up, the
use
emoji, yeah.
emojis. Okay, that is a universal language. It's already happened. We're already there. If you go to Italy and you want to like find out where a barber is, you know what I mean? Like, you don't need to know how to speak Italian anymore. You could put the fucking guy cutting hair with a question mark and a thumbs up and the pray hands to say thank you. Like,
Those are actually hands clapping.
whatever. People use them as the
I get it.
pray hands to say
The
thank
problem with that, though, Simon, is you can't have. I agree with you, but you can't have complex conversations that way.
No, but communication
Yes, I
is
agree.
there, and you'll grow that into something that everyone will be able to use. I'm sure it'll be some picture-based thing as opposed to a language-based thing, and then maybe we'll just lose our ears altogether. I don't know.
But
Maybe
that was the
Joe's
most
right.
That was one of the most interesting parts of this. Excuse me, of this talk, because when he was saying, like, listen, as far as the universal language goes, at this point, you have to teach that language in a language.
Yeah. But I just thought it made me think that all this pronoun stuff is sort of like obviously Neanderthal shit, like adding words. Like there will be probably less words.
But
in
hold on.
in this universal language.
We've had pronouns as long as there's been language. You realize that, right?
But adding to the language that there's so many words that we don't need, and I'm sure words go obsolete. I'm imagining the universal language would have less words
Okay,
than
but
we have now in English or Chinese.
I mean,
'Cause the whole
Kamar, those pronouns aren't real words. You realize that, right? They're not recognized by I don't think most of those pronouns are recognized by the Oxford.
I think you get libel if you wrote the wrong pronouns in Canada.
That's not my point.
That's real.
They're not recognized by a dictionary. Is my point.
Okay, I mean, who recognizes the dictionary? Sure, they're not real words. I just think a universal language will have less than more. But he says the reason why we need a universal language was not able to do right now is because you've got to share knowledge. Like I was just watching something. Do you know the history of Argentina?
Oh, here we go.
Like, is there Bigfoot in Argentina?
Is there? I think there's Bigfoot of some sort on every continent, but I don't know the history of.
And just we know
Argentina.
nothing about China. I think that'd be so interesting. I know nothing about Canada.
But what do you mean? Hold on. You just said Argentina. Just because the three of us know nothing about Argentina, you believe that in general nothing is known of Argentina?
I mean, shared knowledge between every human being on the planet Earth. There's just little traditions and quirks that do a good thing, and maybe a family develops it, and 50 years later it turns into a big company that sells cough drops. Maybe that's how Ricola started. I don't know.
But is language just inevitable anyways? Like everything started with pictures, right? everybody would have had pictures. But then eventually, even if we all like used emojis to talk, that was the universal language. You would still figure out ways to like warp that to communicate with your people, you know?
It's like right now we're actually on the way of having more language, even if the words aren't real, more splintered views. You watch this show, I watch that show. You know, we used to only watch the same show. I was watching the thing. There used to be only 3 channels. Like the world watch or the general society in general watch the same thing.
What does that mean, though? That
Yeah,
we
you're
have
just saying
more-
that if we homogenize everything, we'll all agree with each other. But
World
that's not
shared knowledge, which would be what happens if everyone goes into the internet with a chip in their brain. Everyone would know what everyone else knows, almost instantaneously. Again, this is 1,000 years from
Dude,
now.
you today are just...
But we have a world shared knowledge of what it means to be a human on the planet Earth in this universe by that star. Not about what possessions you have or whatever. We just know everything that we have to get off here because, like he says in the next thing, life has to move before its sun dies. Because that could be
You know
that
how
thing.
long it takes for a
I
star
was just
to
gonna say
usually
we
die?
have like we have like 4 billion years.
Well, we
until-
don't know what.
So we
but
could have-
if they're
Yeah,
going
but if
by
they give a
what they
window,
think,
yeah.
Just again,
a long
a
time.
hypothesis.
Let's say they have half that time, 2 billion years.
It's still a long time, yeah. It's a long time for us, I guess. It's not a long time in the universe's point of view.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a flash in the pan for the universe, but as far as us living organisms on this little rock,
There could be like
Especially us.
there could be
That's
8 more of the shared history we think we know now. Say going back to Neanderthals to everyone on the planet. Do Chinese people, are they like Egyptian deniers?
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I do not know. But does the shared things that everyone knows? There was the Egyptians 15,000, 5,000 years ago, that weird thing. Everyone sort of on the same consensus that were dinosaurs for 200 million years.
I mean, is it even possible for us to even know that much, Kamar? Like, do you know what I mean?
Not-
That's
not the-
so much information. Not in
think-
our
not the
current
current
form.
way.
Yeah.
do you think the Chinese, when it comes to the pyramids, are like, we built something pretty big ourselves? Do you want?
Well, China has their own pyramids
Absolutely,
that
man.
they've been hiding.
Absolutely.
That,
No, but forget the pyramids. Like that wall, we
wall-
act like
we-
we
the
act like
wall's
the
way more recent, though.
yeah, I know,
No,
but
it's
we
just-
still
it's
act like it wasn't an
unbelievable. It just
insane
we talked about
undertaking.
last week, sure, you can see how you do that. I can't see you do that. That's the separator.
Yeah. No. China is not looking at Egypt. They're like, hold my beer. Some of the shit they have in fucking China is insane, man.
China says, hold my beer. And
Yeah.
who knows?
Well, they're an old fucking
who knows what-
civilization.
And like way more polished, like in
Intricacies.
exactly like Egypt or maybe it's what's left. I don't know. Maybe it's better preserved. I don't know, but it's pretty rudimentary at this point. You know.
So you think China is the most evolved?
I
It may seem that way, eh?
I don't know, man. They have a lot of shit going on, and we don't even know even a sliver of what they have in China.
They could have their own pyramids
I know they do, but I'm saying even that, like
or lidar civilizations.
They-
like in the rainforest.
who the fuck knows? Because you'll never know because it's China until the United States takes over the world.
They also have a very big country.
Then you still won't know because they'll hide it from you. So you'll never know.
It's a huge landmass,
It's massive.
but we know there are no pyramids in Canada.
I think there are pyramids in Canada.
Oh.
I don't think
stand
like
corrected.
huge ones like that, but I think they found like
I think the third biggest pyramid in the world is like a Bass and Pro shop
Yeah.
in Wyoming or
yeah,
something.
it's so stupid. It's so fucking stupid. Anyways,
Sorry.
He described the military AI right now as retarded cockroaches.
Joe didn't call him on that, eh?
Dude, this guy
Why
used
would he call
this
him
guy
on that?
used retarded like 4 times this episode, and I was
Yeah, I was
championing.
like,
I was a big
I
champion.
Knew it had a meaning
No, I
that
think
was-
he meant
Down syndrome.
no, I think he meant like it was a retarded way of thinking.
Dogs think we're dogs.
I wonder what I never thought of that before. Like, do they don't think we're dogs? I don't.
Well, back to the language thing. I was saying this to Mary before I listened to any of these episodes. I was like, it's very interesting if you think about it that like we think dogs are stupid, but they can pick up like up to 100 of our words, whereas we understand 0 from them.
Zero dog.
Like,
yeah.
no, I mean, I get it if he barks at me. I'm like, are you hungry? Do you want to go pit? You know what I mean? There's one of three things that he is barking at. I don't get it though. But yeah, there's like, listen, I don't want to trigger him right now, but there's like 3 words I could say that would get him like up and moving right now. And
That's not 100, but still.
no, no.
No. It's still skill. Like this guy says, and he says it is a great problem that we do not know how to communicate with animals. And again, like if going to the ocean is the answer, maybe communicating with animals is the way we get to the universal language.
I mean, animals seem to be able to communicate with each other.
Well,
He
knowing
said octopus has no language.
knowing whale and dolphin probably is, they would tell us what's at the bottom of the ocean, but we just can't listen to what they're saying.
Boom.
Imagine they're like, we've been saying this the whole time. Don't go down
We've
there.
been screaming at you assholes.
Yeah.
No, they're like, come down, it's fucking the bomb. And you guys just stay up there twiddling your thumbs.
No, they can't go that
Imagine
far.
they make fun of beings that have thumbs. Like these fucking idiots with their opposable thumbs.
Because they don't even have the memory that that's where they came from.
No, because they don't need thumbs because they fucking live in the ocean, which is the bomb.
He pointed out that the octopus could be intelligence, but intelligence loses its value if you can't work together. So that's why I think it's inevitable that unless, of course, the
X Factor.
nuclear war destruction, we just lose the plot and blow the whole thing up. But I don't think it'll be climate. I don't think the climate will kill us and then we won't make it. I think it would be a man-made. Everyone blows everyone.
I love that. I love that he
cli-
hammers down the climate change thing like we haven't been listening to him
Forget-
for a year plus.
Forget climate though. Like it's not gonna be the fucking depletion of the ozone layer that kills us.
No, I don't
It's-
think so.
But when like anything that puts our planet at peril, it's all the same, you know, a tidal wave, an earthquake.
No,
But hold on, let me ask
our
you-
incompetence.
An asteroid.
Hold on.
Our incompetence puts us at peril.
Well, that's a whole
in
other
spite of our
thing.
nose. Then
If
that,
100 years from now the soil erodes and we can't create enough food,
Yes,
is
yeah.
that not the?
no, 100 years from now we'll be able to do whatever. The planet will be like a tossed salad. for
Okay,
us.
hold on 1 second, because I'm willing to agree with some of what you're saying. But like, let's say they shot a nuclear bomb into the earth, okay? Into the ground
They dug a hole
with a drill tip and they just sent it into the earth.
like a chute, like
Yeah, it went 1,000 meters down.
That's not very deep.
still go on.
Whatever.
That
It doesn't matter. And it infects the ground and it never comes back. You don't know that's never happened before, as far as we know. So you don't know if that wouldn't forever change the planet.
I'm sure that would do nothing.
You're sure because you're what, Kamar?
But hold on, you're wrong,
it's
Kamar.
just a
We have
theory.
evidence. Like Chernobyl is.
No, but this is 1,000. How far under the ground did you say? A kilometer?
Okay, but here,
No,
hold
no,
on,
I'm
wait.
just talking about anything we would do that could infect the earth or.
We've done it all.
Let me give you an
We're
example.
still here.
We're super far technologically as you're concerned. We can't build, if we build a gas station somewhere, the second that gas station leaves, it takes 50 years before you can do anything with that land again. That's just a gas station.
We have to, but in 50 years there won't be gas stations, and there'll still be all those places that are contaminated and ruined. Maybe we'll figure that out.
No, no,
Yeah, but the
I'm
reason
sure
there
if
won't be
they need
gas-
the land,
okay.
if they need the land enough, they'll figure it out to be able to fix that in a month instead of 10
You're saying it's
years.
not financially viable
Correct.
enough
Not
right now.
yet.
I look
Not
at
yet.
your example of gas stations. I think are like Blockbuster. Like
No,
60
Kamar,
years to build-
you're missing my point.
remember
I
those
don't
gas
care about
stations?
gas stations. My point is we can do stuff to the earth rather quickly that will contaminate it for a stupid amount of time.
but it makes it bad
But-
for us, not the Earth.
As soon as it exactly what you said.
But
is,
you're missing the point is, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
As soon as it becomes a situation that they can make money from it, they'll do it. It's the same with cleaning the ocean.
Okay,
It's
but hear me out. My point is if we were to fry the earth, let's say we do something, some X factor that someone tests out, we don't have a lot of turnaround time. Like, I get it. You're like, even if they poured all the money in the world to it, COVID style, where just every government dumps every amount of money into it,
Yeah.
it might be too late. And
mean-
again, he's saying, like, yeah, it's bad for us, not for the earth. I'm not saying the earth goes away. I'm saying the earth kills us, and then the earth will be fine.
And then a million years
So
from
so
now,
that's a
the
good
Earth
thing.
will be fine. I mean, I guess if you've, I guess, yeah. I mean,
a million
if
years.
civilizations just come and go and come and go, and
If
come
everyone,
and go.
I think, if everyone dropped dead tomorrow, and all the nuclear plants stopped working and explode or whatever, I bet you the Earth would be fine in like 50 years.
I mean, you keep
Like
saying
we
I
never
bet
existed.
it would. Who knows?
No,
man?
that's what I'm just saying. That's my theory. What do you think?
I wouldn't even guess.
Everyone went to shit. Everything died. The planet would be overgrown and just look like.
Well, we know that planets and stars and shit die. So why not this one?
Like, what would happen in all the manicured lawns on the planet if everyone stopped mowing them?
It would just be like forests of grass.
Dead grass and then matted, and it'd grow across the roads, and it wouldn't take. I don't think it would take long.
Oh, for the planet to reclaim itself?
Yeah.
Well, it depends if everything dies or not.
What is
Depends
your
if
point,
everything
though?
dies.
I don't understand.
I just think us going full bore and maybe destroying ourselves is probably the best thing than us trying to hurt ourselves by saving the planet.
That didn't make any sense. Say that
Well,
again.
I mean, I guess that's the race, is that you have to get smart enough while you're still alive, not you personally, the human beings, in order to save yourself from all the destruction that comes with getting that far. Does that make sense?
Sure. My point still remains, though, Kamar, is like what you're saying is like we just go full fucking bore and it doesn't matter.
We go full bore. We stop like environmental regulations and stuff. Either destroy the planet or figure it out. But if we destroy the planet, we all die, and then the planet reboots. And if
Yeah.
we figure it out, everything's great.
You know what? Look at it this way, Kamar. That probably will happen, where they just figure it out. For the next 100 years, they're going to be fucking implementing some sort of environmental thing. Deal with it.
I don't deal with it because I don't pay at the gas pump, but people are dealing with it. So
Forget the gas pump, Kamar. We've killed the oceans, which will kill us.
you know how I feel about the oceans.
We don't even know what we've done to the oceans. We've killed the little bit of it that they see.
Dude, the reef is like a vitally important part of every ecosystem.
Yeah, that's true.
And we're destroying all the reefs on Earth. They're all becoming bleached. So now again, there might be some X factor where we figure out how to revitalize them all overnight, but that's something we've done in our lifetime.
And I think the ocean itself is a pursuable pursuit.
Okay.
I would say if we really had some way to like give everyone artificial fish, anyone who's a fisherman, subsidize their salary for 1 year and not fish for one whole year, how would that change? A whole season, just all the fish are there, stay. Do they triple in one season? We don't know. We'll never do it. But I think that's like a tangible results thing. But forcing people not to use gas to get electricity right now, I think it's forcible and tangible, but I don't think it's working any better than it's going to work itself out. But I think
we should
be proactive in trying to help.
But we know it's working because every car manufacturer is moving over to electric.
But just
that doesn't mean anything.
Just everything's getting more expensive.
But
That's
it
all
does,
that's
because less emissions is obviously better for the
Oh,
environment.
right. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yes.
100%.
I mean,
But I'm just saying
yes.
every step in the right direction, and that's driven by...
As long as it doesn't hurt your own people in the process. That's the big...
Here's the thing. If prices and everything...
Right? Like, it can't be at the expense of your populace and civilization. You can't try so hard to do the right thing that you end up just crippling
Yeah, but
everybody.
we're not crippling everything by moving to electric cars right now, right?
No, those cars just have to become affordable enough that everybody's able to own them.
Oh, yeah, but I just read 6 articles this week that said they're crushing the price of electric cars lately.
Like they're getting cheaper?
Yeah, like GM has removed like $8,000
And so,
in...
in 50 years from now,
Yeah.
because of the policies we're doing, life is going to be a lot more cheaper and a lot more affordable for working class people and everyone.
Hopefully.
That's the hypothesis. If 50 years now, life is harder, then it will have been in vain. That's what I'm saying. And
The real travesty is that we don't dump enough into public transportation. Like Ottawa's a perfect example. We have the worst public transportation potentially of any developed city in the world.
Well, this is
And it costs $4 to get on that piece of shit.
This is the interesting. Do you know what country on the planet is the furthest ahead in being green?
Copenhagen.
China.
Oh, because they have so many people, they have to.
And they can just tell people what to do,
Yeah.
and it's just like it's the most efficient way to do it. But some people don't have their freedoms, and I think if you are middle class in China, you're way better off than you're middle class in North America. I bet that. And it's a different number. Like if you're poor in China, I bet you're really poor, and it may suck in the poorest person in
I got to
Canada.
disagree with you.
I've
Freedom
talked
of
to people-
speech alone is...
If you don't know any better, though,
I don't
know
care.
What I mean? There's
You-
people
listen-
raised there thinking that
I get that, but if you accidentally say the wrong thing about the government, you and your grandparents are in jail. I don't know. That's not a way to live. Like, you're constantly looking over your shoulder. I just don't think that's a comfort.
I don't think people are.
I think they are.
I think dissidents are, but I think the average person in China thinks they're killing it, and it doesn't get better than this.
Because if that shit is just baked into your culture, Matt.
Yeah, I get it, but you're
you
missing the
just think
point.
It's part of how it is, and if you don't know any better,
Okay,
you're
but
just
Kamar,
living.
so when they lock you down for 8 months during COVID, someone like you're going to be okay being middle class in China? Someone who wants to go to the trucker rallies and who fights for freedom? Like, I'm just curious.
here's the
'cause
thing: I bemoaned the lockdown, and now I miss the lockdown.
you never know you're in the good times until they're there, until they're gone.
That's what I'm
Sorry.
saying. Like I wasn't killing it by any means of the imagination before the lockdown, but during the lockdown, any shortcomings, anything go bad, I could blame it on the lockdown. Now the lockdown's over, and I'm still not killing it by any, and I have no scapegoat.
I wrote a
But
joke the other
myself.
day. I'm sure someone else has written it, but it's. I was like,
That's funny.
remember when the government paid us to stay home and play video games, and we complained about it?
White privilege. It's just,
Isn't it nuts though? Like,
because freedom is a concept that we haven't baked in us, or our level of freedom or whatever we haven't baked in us. But raised in another environment, you could have a different view, and that's what I mean by still splintered by languages and stuff. I think, and I just think it's shitty for Uyghurs. It's shitty for a lot of people in China. It's shitty for a lot of people in North America. Like, let's,
yeah, but I think I'd rather like. Would you rather be a Uyghur Muslim in China or a homeless person in Canada?
I'd rather be a homeless person in Canada. Would you rather be a rich person in Canada or a rich person in China?
Well, you
A
don't.
rich person in Canada.
You
I think.
really
China,
have
100
no
days out of
idea
100.
what it's like to be anything in China. You don't know what.
Well, no,
that
we have a friend who's
struggle
talked to
is.
people, and he said his experience. So
Okay,
I have
but
that.
wait a
It's
minute.
Hearsay.
Jack Ma, one of the richest people in the world, says the wrong thing and disappears for like 8 months. That's a big. Kamari, there's no way you'd rather be rich in China than rich in Canada. That's crazy. If you offered me
I bet you the
$10
richest
billion,
people in China are richer than the richest people in Canada.
that's not. Who cares? You're still rich. What do you
I
care?
know, and you can go to Canada and say whatever you want and be Chinese.
Yeah,
No,
and
I
then,
don't think you can. If you go to but you just can never go home.
You can't say whatever you want on Twitter, or you're just rich. Like you're.
No, I know,
I
but
think
if
you're-
you get on and you say bad things about China and then you try and go back to China, you'll disappear.
If I was rich,
Yes.
If I was rich in China, why would I say anything bad about China?
That's
if I was
not the
rich
point.
In Canada, why would I say anything bad about Canada?
Again, I'm not disagreeing with you on whether it's better to just be ignorant and
Wait a
in
minute.
bliss.
Wait a minute. If you were rich right now, you would have no problem with Justin Trudeau. Is that what you're saying?
Obviously not. He'd be the reason I'm rich.
If I was
No,
rich
what?
right now, I
What-
wouldn't
what
have
the-
a problem with anything.
Yeah,
Like, 100%.
Exactly. I couldn't care. I couldn't
100%.
care less who's in charge.
You're missing my point. You're telling me that if Kamar has $5 million in the bank right now and he's still sitting doing this podcast, you don't think he's like Trudeau's a fucking idiot?
Oh no, if he was
No.
still doing this. But
Exactly.
if he was really rich, he wouldn't still be doing this podcast. He'd be living on a beach somewhere,
And
living his best
I
fucking
bet
life.
you everyone in Canada who got rich in the pandemic loves Justin Trudeau, and thinks I'm a moron for saying he's a moron.
No, there's rich conservatives that listen. There's rich conservatives that got rich during the pandemic that still think Justin Trudeau's a moron. For sure. Are you nuts?
I don't know them. I don't know rich people.
I don't
how,
either.
how about this? Here I can espouse whatever I want, complain.
Yeah.
If we were trying to do this podcast in China,
Yeah.
I'd be in jail, and this
Yeah.
podcast would exist.
yeah,
course.
you're
So-
arguing his point
So
now.
that's the freedom. But I'm not rich doing this. So if I was rich, it's the same thing. The
point is, Kamar-
so I have to find reasons for my lack of success. And that's projecting on Justin Trudeau.
My point, though, Kamar, is yeah, this thing isn't successful now, and it probably never will be, but it has a chance. You don't have that chance in China.
Well, that's what I was saying. I don't. Maybe it
You
does.
have that chance in China as long as you don't talk shit about the government.
Maybe it is exactly the same, and exactly there are just certain rules. I have no idea. Like, I really don't know how hard it is to be a person in China.
Even then, you're forgetting too that you could have like, okay, we have a super successful YouTube channel in China, or whatever their equivalent is. Okay, hold on, we're making tons of money, everything's going great. We never talk about the government because we have a cooking show, right? That's how we make our money.
Right.
Then the government shows up one day and says, "Listen, super successful show. Hold on, we'd like you to mention this thing or that, whatever it is." I don't want to do that either.
I would do it. I was thinking back to the other day when you said that this YouTuber was advertising gambling. You're like, I don't know about that. And then I watched a hockey game, and all they're doing is advertising gambling. Like Connor McDavid.
That's different. Hold on.
No, it isn't. Kids are watching the hockey game. It's the same thing, man.
Listen, Kamar, an ad for a gambling website is far different than Aiden Ross sitting there dumping $500,000.
No, that's embedded advertising. That's the only difference there. It's still exposing someone to be like, my hero's Connor McDavid. He says gambling school.
It's like why you can't use celebrities in liquor, or I don't know about liquor, but weed advertising.
Like Hockey Night Canada,
you can't
taking
take
money to
people.
advertise gambling is fucking bullshit.
No, but there's a
but it's
yes,
Rogers now.
it
It's
is, but
Rogers
it's
now,
a
so
different kind of bullshit, man.
That one is just more submersive. No,
Subversive.
subversive. It's still the same thing.
First of all, listen, if I decide I'm going to spend my own money, let's say we're done here and I put $100 on a website and I throw it away at roulette. That's a little bit different than a website giving me $500,000 and me gambling it away, making it look like, I don't know. Yeah, I find it gross. I think it's different.
It's totally gross, but they're both gross. Like those, I can't believe how much advertising. There was one on this one. In the middle of talking about the secrets of the universe and stuff, it's like 365.
Let's get back to secrets of the universe.
Joe was one spot. Great theories are based in simple principles.
You have to be able to explain it to a child.
But the thoughts you have, like, you may say something profound, and it seems so simple. But
I feel like I do all the time.
I know you do. He thinks we are not the most intelligent life in the universe,
or we are.
He doesn't.
No, I know.
And
I think the odds are against us.
But the odds to convene or whatever is how did the dinosaurs, if they existed for 200 million years, not become intelligent?
Yeah, they were just so useless. That's why it's
pokes
all
and
so
holes in what we
suspect.
think.
But wait, listen
No,
to this.
because they didn't have opposable thumbs. He said in this, he was like, the things are opposable thumbs.
And they could just never evolve to opposable thumbs.
I think the biggest
we are that evolve.
I think the biggest thing is cooperation.
Okay, sure, but again, you can't build tools without opposable thumbs. So you can't get past. That's like
I know, but they had 300 million years to do it, or whatever it was. Why did that dinosaur not evolve into a man dino with opposable thumbs the same way we came from whatever the fuck we came from and evolved into us over a much shorter period of time?
Again, like you said, luck.
There was a time where there was no thumbs on the planet.
You know what was crazy? Hey, listen. It was so crazy when he said dinosaurs were discovered in what year? The first fossilized bones. It was like 1800 or something. Everyone up until that point had no idea that dinosaurs existed.
But again, we don't know that.
I know, but just that thinking is insane, man. It's insane.
I love thinking about that. There was a point.
No,
where...
that's sorry. Just one thing. That's why there were dragons, and that's why there were all these things. Those were people just having a different name for the same thing. Anyways, go on.
Gotcha. They found a big bone in the ground, and they said it was a dragon bone
instead of a
stegosaurus.
They were the first to be smart enough to classify, or we think, anyways. Maybe there were no dinosaurs. Maybe they were all fucking dragons. I'm sorry, Kamar.
I was going to take it way simpler, just to like the first time anyone heard a song, like songs that are part of our memory and the fabric of your life, of existence, of your consciousness. There was a moment where that didn't exist, and that creates a new universe or memories or whatever, right?
I think music is by far one of the
Is music is a band supposed to come out? Sorry, I didn't mean to jump over.
No, I don't. Music is one of the craziest creations of man.
That's
in
what
my
I'm
opinion.
saying. And he thinks it relates to string theory. It's like we create universes every time you create a band. And like I was watching the Sex Pistols.
Yeah.
There was a day before the Sex Pistols, and then they were something. They couldn't play instruments. Like they sucked. And they were only around for like 2 or 3 years, and they are
But that's more a cultural thing. Like,
Of course, it's all
music
about
and
culture.
song has been around since the fucking cavemen, I'm sure. It's just.
And it
are you
continues
guys
to
talking
evolve.
about rap music? 'Cause,
No, I'm
like,
talking about music in
all
general.
just
All music.
it just
period.
keeps evolving
Matt,
and evolving
you're
and
probably-
evolving.
Probably right. It's probably fucking a tone, because it all is, that moved rocks, like they were talking about
Boom.
last week.
There you
know?
go.
I mean, it's just weird. Like
it's the
sound
X
is
factor.
vibration.
It's the X factor.
And we put vibrations together in like a synchron. I don't know. It's fucking. It's
And
crazy.
If we're looking at ourselves as like some sort of like system, and the things we remember are triggered by smell and sound, and those have got to be the most important things.
They've got to be very important.
You know what I'm saying? That's how you should judge importance of human, would be based on what triggers the memory the best. Because if all we are is a storage unit for our memories.
Well, I don't know if it was this one or the next. They were talking about stuff in a straight line. I can't remember which one it was, but either way, we love that shit. Humans love
Oh yes, that comes up the next one.
like that's a thing in photography. It's called leading lines. It's like it's what makes a good photo is if you have leading lines. And again, I think it's because we like geometry,
Order.
which again I think is back to the simulation. I think that's why we like geometry and music because it's all.
Back to the simulation, or back to just that's what make man a human the way we are, you know?
Maybe, who knows?
He
Back to,
contended
like-
that we're done physically evolving.
Okay.
Like he put a pin in Joe's bummer that will become these sexless forms. just
Because there's nothing else pushing our physical evolution anymore. But as soon as we merge with machine,
boom.
see, Joe's just a little bit off, right? He's right. We're going to get to a point where we merge with machine and we probably don't need to have penises anymore or reproductive organs or whatever. But we're never going to make ourselves look like the gray. Maybe we're going to make ourselves look like the best version of us right now. So.
Enhanced.
Dude, it just hit me too. That will be the point where, like, if technology were on a graph and it were, moving up like this, once we merge with the machines and we lose sex,
Oh yeah, there's no more graph anymore. It's just
a straight line up.
until at some point you'll start to plateau, but you'll never see that because it's so high up above your graph.
Sex is the impediment, you mean, to our progress?
100%.
Yeah.
Like when they were talking about if you could read everyone's mind and communicate like that, I was like, what a disaster. Like the second you put a woman in front of a guy,
Well, you think the metaverse is bad?
Listen, no, the thing
But,
that
like, sorry.
thing that has pushed progress has always been love. You know what I mean? Those things are important to this climb.
So what? So maybe you're
without
saying
it,
no. So what
we're
you're
just
saying,
gonna go back
what you're
down.
saying is the line either goes straight up or straight down. Because maybe you're right. Maybe
Who knows? Maybe when you take out those things that are actually like the core parts of being human, we cease to be able to progress at all.
But this, again, would go back to my simulation theory because you would ask, like, well, why in the simulation are, like, some people doing well and some people not? And it's like, this is just how it has to run in order to run. Like, they had that thing in the Matrix.
We're gonna get into this.
Or
Okay,
it's
sorry.
reincarnation. Like the same thing applies. He said it, right? Like, remember weeks ago, sorry, just before we move on, because I got to pee anyways. But I said, believing in the Matrix and believing in God are the exact same thing. It just has a different name. But all the you're still buying into the same fucking thing.
I guess the
Yes,
heaven and
hold on.
simulation are the same thing.
Yes and no, though, because a lot of people, like, listen, if you just believe in God, like you're about to die and you say, please, God, that's different. But if you go to church every Sunday, just hear me out.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a deep religious believer, that's different than me every Sunday being like, I kind of think there might be a simulation. You know what I mean? I don't say this I'm not like pushing it on people. I'm not a
No. I'm just saying this idea of putting faith in the idea that we're a simulation is the same. Like when you look at it, who is our creator? Who's controlling? It's all the same questions you're going to ask from religion. It's just in a different, you've just given it different names.
I guess. But
That's
like,
what the guy says next anyways.
It comes to the next one. He said there's a star that weakens 20%, like it pulses.
That's been going around for a while, but yeah, they think that it's something not natural.
That's not natural,
No,
as we know.
it's not. But who knows? It's so far away. It's so far away that are our readings even right? You know what I mean?
If it is what he's talking about. It's a stage 2. Maybe on its way to stage 3.
Yeah.
love how he's an expert in these
Well, no.
stages.
Well, if they get here, Kamar, they're definitely a stage 3.
Eric B. Rakim's razor. This is your explanation. Because we know stars don't throb. They just burn and then they die.
That was my favorite part about this episode was the stage 1, 2, and 3. That shit's cool, man.
It was super inspiring and sort of like, this is where the road is going. I felt it was just uplifting, and there was not an ounce of COVID or cancel culture discussion. Couple quick points. He thinks you shouldn't advertise our existence.
I think that's probably not a great idea either. And you know what? When we shot that nuke into space to see what would happen, that was probably the like, hey, we're here and we've been visited by aliens ever since, like on a grand scale.
Yeah, you and Joe. I thought it was interesting he'd never heard of Bob Lazar.
It's insane. Who is this guy? Well, that was I was going to say.
He said Element 92, but he didn't know about the...
Well, it's not Element 92.
No, Element 92 is uranium.
Yes.
Which he said was like the mark of 0.7.
Right, but he didn't know about Element 114.
Interesting.
no, he did. He said they recreated it in a lab.
Okay.
And then he said, but it has very little like...
Use except for this flying machine.
But he had no idea Bob Lazar.
He's not really an alien guy though.
He would have
He's
no
a
reason to know
science
about
guy.
Bob Lazar because, again, they just discovered element whatever, right? So
Well, he should know about Bob Lazar because
He
he's
seems
like
like
in
a
this world
smart guy
now.
that he'd see it and dismiss it, but never heard of it. It's just interesting.
Doesn't make any sense.
Maybe it's
I
got
didn't find it that
a lot of stuff. That's fine. That's fine. Government cover up. Like, there's no way the governments are telling us everything they know.
No.
With whatever they're releasing in patchwork. I tried to watch a YouTube video today of it.
Of what?
Of
The Tic Tac?
it's some sort of sphere going past a window.
Okay.
And the whole thing was who was ever working as the government tech person trying to press play and pause. They have a lot cooler stuff to see and can't explain.
The
That's
lore
my
is the
explanation.
lore out there in fucking UFO land is that they have a 23-minute video that is gonna like blow everybody's mind, but it's never gonna come to the light.
23
of day.
minutes. That's an interesting number, eh?
Yeah. 23 minutes, and it's like
Is
HD
that an alien or a
quality.
man jumping?
Hi-oh.
Oh, it's Michael Jordan. I see. Interesting.
Imagine that. That would you feel so used if it was a huge branding exercise on the behalf of the Pentagon, Michael Jordan, and
It's all Michael Jordan. It's just an Elon Musk ad campaign.
It's a cross promotion Jordan brand X Pentagon.
Oh my god, it would be
people would love it.
They're
You'd hate
releasing
it.
Letterman
You'd feel
jackets.
used, everything-
it
that's
would be the
best.
ultimate ad campaign, eh? Like finally they find the fucking UFO and
Yeah.
it's just an Elon ad for Neuralink.
No, SpaceX.
Whatever. It's all the same.
So yeah, we can't trust the government. So the conversations on favors, this, that, and the other are sort of moot.
No, are they? Those guys say they saw what they saw. I fucking believe them.
And unless everyone knows what we know, it's difficult to have a conversation about it. It's all speculation. But if we knew what everyone knows,
Are you talking about now this Neuralink thing again? All chiming into this universal fucking stream of consciousness?
that'd be interesting if that was a unintended consequence. I'm sure they think about it, but all of a sudden they know everyone knows what's classified because they have back holes to fucking servers and stuff.
If everybody is able to communicate like that, like there's still going to be people in charge of what, like that takes away your freedom.
charge of
it
what?
doesn't add freedom.
I-
In charge of like your feed. It's going to be that much easier for them to decide exactly what you're allowed to know and what you won't even know that you're not allowed to know the things that you don't know at that point. It's going to be horrible.
No.
It's not a good thing.
That would be saying that the government is competent and no,
Is Elon Musk competent?
nothing will go the way it's planned.
Is
That's
Elon
what
Musk
I know.
competent?
I don't know.
Because it has nothing to do with the government
Recently, I
anymore.
heard he just buys stuff and knows how to
anyways.
talk like Theranos.
Sure, maybe. All of
Theranos.
these, yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I don't think that's a good thing, us all hooking up together.
Okay,
like
that is an excellent subway for our next guest.
Okay, I give this a 4.
I give it a 4.5.
I'll give it a 4.
Hey, look at that.
It was a lot though.
By the way, in closing, this week I saw a reporter ask Elon Musk. He goes, "How's AEN-12?" And Elon goes, "Sorry, what?"
His kid.
Yeah, and he goes, "Oh, sorry, you mean my son?" I was like, dude, how do you name your kid that? You have the
she did.
whatever. How do you have the audacity to name your kid that, and then someone actually pulls it out, and you're like, who?
I think she did, and they're not together. And it's like,
Okay.
And after that's my defensive.
Because he said to him, he goes, "I thought you just asked me a password."
Does it really have a slash in it?
Yeah, there's a dash in it. Yeah,
A dash or a slash?
a dash.
A dash.
Or is it a slash? I don't remember.
One of the shortcomings in this is like Joe always says how he's dumb.
Yeah.
And then people say, "No, you're not." He's like, "No, I'm smart. I'm a good pool player, but I'm not the best." And then in this one, like, and we talked about how we have biases of what we want it to be. We want it to be spaceships or whatever the explanation is. Joe has a lot of built-in biases that push back on this. Like, well, you can't forget how to drink water. Everyone knows how to drink water. It's like, well, no, we have a chemical, which also made me think about how you could put a chemical to, again, make someone forgot a trauma that they had is maybe therapeutic. But then the he wants us to be gray. He wants us to be the cocoon, like his way. And so when it got to mind control, he dropped chaos on him.
Yeah.
Like he used it as his research in being somewhat of an expert on manipulation of the mind and these things. Because the doctor, and it just impeded what this guy was trying to say, I thought at times.
I mean, this guy had his own impediments because he is a scientist. And yes, he's come this far, but they still follow like really stringent rules about certain things, you know? Mm-hmm. And I feel like he's still he's probably moved forward, but there's still forward to come.
All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to pay a bill, and we'll be right back.